Hello and good afternoon, Minnesota. I'm also so sorry. There's a little bit of an alarm going off around our office building, and I'm really thankful for everyone joining us today. And I do apologize if there's any noises, and just let me know if it does get a little bit too loud. It's kind of far away, but I think it should be okay. And hope everyone had a great Halloween weekend, and it is a start to daylight savings. I do feel that an extra hour of sleep has really helped, especially just with things going on and things getting kind of busy right before the holidays. That extra hour really has helped me out. And we have a lot of great organizations joining us today in the state of Minnesota. And we're going to wait another minute or so for more people to join. And hopefully you were all able to use your Uber Eats and enjoy lunch while watching this. And if you didn't get to use a code, I believe it should be still good to use until Thursday afternoon. And let me know in the Q&A box what you ordered for lunch. Right now, we're 2 hours behind. We're in San Jose, California, but we are going to get some Mexican food. I think we usually create like a taco bowl station. So we get like lettuce, salsa, and different types of meat with the red rice, and then some flautas too. Okay, someone has a BLT sandwich. Awesome. I see pizza. I'm seeing burgers, always a classic. And a steak salad. I love steak. And we also have someone's getting Chinese food and some noodles. And we have a lot of great ramen spots here in San Jose. Sushi, favorite. I am such a huge fan of seafood. All right, so we'll get started here. Just wanted to go over some housekeeping. So at the end of this presentation, I'll be following up with an email in the next few hours to provide the HRCI and Shroom credits. If you do have any questions today, we have our Q&A box. I'll try my best to check that question box and get back to you as soon as possible. These questions will be saved. I may not address them like right away during the webinar, but I should be able to give you like a more formal answer in a follow-up email. And then if you want any further information, feel free to respond to the email I'll be sending with the credits. And then you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel and newsletter. I'll send the links at the end of the presentation. And then we're also going to send a recording of the presentation you can share with your colleagues. That'll be sent through Zoom. And today we're going to talk about Minnesota nonprofits and unemployment. Before I get started, just wanted to do a quick intro of myself. My name is Janessa Ponko. I'm the Senior Member Development Representative here at 501c Services. I've been in sales for almost 10 years. I was selling vendor booth space at a wedding fair for about 3 years in 2016. During the pandemic, I was setting up meetings for tech startups for various tech startups. And then currently I've been at 501 since July 2023, and I've been helping to schedule appointments and generate new leads for our company. And there's an image of people bowling that includes me and some of our sales and marketing team members. Heidi's my manager that's in the middle. You may work with her in the future. We also have Evan on the right who helps with our marketing and web development. I'm really excited to be part of a team that's been helping nonprofits save time and money that can go towards furthering their mission. And we are located in San Jose, so we're in the heart of the Silicon Valley, and we're dedicated to helping nonprofits reduce unemployment expenses across the nation. Thank you again for joining to learn more about cost-effective strategies and also managing unemployment in the state of Minnesota. For the agenda, we're going to provide a broad overview on how unemployment insurance works, the different alternatives for 501c3 nonprofits when it comes to unemployment, how reimbursing works, and we're also going to use some real life examples of nonprofits we've helped with our cost analysis, and then finally provide more information on our company 501c services and how many of our Minnesota nonprofits have benefited from our services. First of all, just wanted to put Unemployment in perspective with a little bit of history. So, unemployment had started in the US in the 1930s following the Great Depression and New Deal, where the federal government wanted to create a safety net for workers who lost their jobs through no fault of their own. From 1930 to 1972, 501(c)(3) organizations, they didn't pay into unemployment benefits for separate employees. Although this saved them money from paying such taxes, employees that were laid off couldn't reap the benefits of that safety net for-profit companies had provided. And now fast forward to 1972, the federal government changed the law under the Social Security Act to where nonprofits they must pay into unemployment, but they were given different options in how they pay, so that tax wouldn't be seen as a unnecessary expense for them. Unemployment is overseen on the federal level. However, each state gets to manage their own programs however they choose. So, throughout the US, you'll see different taxable wage bases, tax rates, and benefit amounts. But we're just going to cover information here in Minnesota. When it comes to management, unemployment rates can be adjusted annually and are adjusted by experience. So, for example, if you have a year or two of bad claims, your tax rate will increase. Most states, including Minnesota, run as a risk pool. So, the money that you're putting in doesn't necessarily equate to what you're going to get out. And we are seeing a lot more nonprofits putting more money into that tax pool than what they're getting back. And then these total tax liabilities by employers, they're often greater than the claims paid with reserves used in times of recession. And then to calculate your tax liability, you multiply the taxable wage base by your employer tax rate. So take a guess on what a single claim can cost in the state of Minnesota. And feel free to put some guesses in the Q&A box. So let me see. We have 12,000. I'm seeing 9,700, 6,500. So just as a hint, the total cost is looking at the weekly benefit maximum times the maximum number of weeks someone can claim. And in the state of Minnesota, that number is 26 weeks. I'm seeing 8,000, 4,800, 2,300. All right, so the maximum amount a single person can claim an unemployment in Minnesota can cost. See, it is $23,764. Just as a caveat, this is what an employer is charged for employee benefits by the state. So those extended benefits you saw during the recession and extra COVID payments, they were covered by the federal government. So the maximum weekly benefit amount in Minnesota is $914. When you multiply that number by 26 is how we get the $23,764 for the maximum of what a single person can claim on unemployment. The federal government sets a wage base at a minimum of $7,000 and there's no maximum. Currently, Minnesota's taxable wage base is set at $43,000, which means for the first $43,000 an employee earns, your organization gets taxed on that. And then the minimum tax rate in Minnesota is 0.5%, maximum tax rate's at 9.4%, and those are both set by the state. And then the last thing I want to know is the improper payment rate from the last slide, which is at 8.25%. This equates to over $262 million in overpayments to former employees who were collecting unemployment from the past 3 years. And this is information we get from the Department of Labor. You can see Minnesota is one of those states that's less than 10%. And it's important to note that we really encourage you to look over your claims and make sure you're not overpaying for anybody's claims. Here at 501(c) Services, we help organizations monitor this. And if you are managing on your own, you want to make sure you're properly charged for a former employee's weekly benefit amount. There are three different alternatives for unemployment. One is that you pay the state tax that we mentioned earlier, and that tax rate that's set by the state in taxable wages. Another option is that you can self-insure or reimburse for your unemployment, where you just pay dollar per dollar for your unemployment claims. So you're basically only paying for the benefits issued. And then the last option is kind of a hybrid of both, where you buy insurance that offers the savings of reimbursing while also providing that safety net. And just to let you know, reimbursing is not for everyone. The qualifications that we look at for considering reimbursing is that an organization must be a 501(c)(3) nonprofit. It excludes religious institutions. We recommend a gross annual payroll of $1 million or more because typically, if your payroll's under $1 million, especially significantly less than that amount, what you're paying into the state tax pool is probably pretty minimal, and you might not see much significant savings by opting out. However, there are some scenarios where you could see potential savings, so our team would be happy to look at your numbers even if you're just slightly less than 1 million. And then we also look at a positive audit of the past 3 years. So that means in order for reimbursing to benefit you, we try to evaluate if what you paid each year in taxes exceeds what you're paying in actual claims. We also want to make sure that there isn't any major disruption in funding from the last 24 months, so we do recommend to stay with the state tax system. If you know if you might have anything from impending layoffs, reduction in workforce, losing funds, or closing programs where your tax rates may go up with experience, and then you'll probably want to wait once those claims decrease. And what it means to reimburse is that your tax rate will turn to 0%. The state will bill you only for unemployment claims you receive over the quarter. It's a great way for nonprofits to save money and be a better steward of donor dollars. The process is seamless for separate employees. No matter how your employees separated, they're still going to go through that same process of your unemployment department, where the state determines their benefit amount based on their base period pay. The only change is how that quarterly bill is calculated. So instead of paying that state unemployment insurance tax, you're now only responsible for the charges your organization incurs. We work with 1,500 nonprofits across the nation, and we have several in the state of Minnesota. So you're probably wondering what motivates them to reimburse. In most cases, reimbursing saves money. On average, savings can be anywhere from 20 to 40% compared to paying into that state tax system. And this is really the driver for most organizations to switch. Reimbursing eliminates any of those concerning changes in the state tax, such as any like tax hikes you can't control, and you become a better steward of donor dollars as you're just paying for your actual claims and putting money into that state pool. Because unemployment is managed by the federal government, big picture, reimbursing is allowed in all 50 states, best with employers with over $1 million in payroll and at least 15 or more full-time employees. If you're on the borderline, we can still talk as there may be some circumstances where you can consider reimbursing for your organization. And then if you're smaller and reimbursing already, we can still consider you for our services and how we can help you reduce your risk. Now we're going to go over some examples. So before we talk about how the state tax is calculated, like I mentioned earlier, there's going to be some cost assessments we've done in the past. And then the taxable wage base is customized by each state. So with Minnesota, that taxable wage base is at $43,000. All employers in the state pay the same taxable wage base. It represents the first $43,000 of an employee's earnings. There's no maximum and can increase or decrease by any amount each year. And the tax rate is set annually by the state and is based on experience. So to calculate your contribution amount, you multiply the taxable wage base by the tax rate. So for Minnesota, it's at $43,000 times the range of 0.5 to 9.4%. This amount means that if each employee is making over $43,000, a company is paying in between $215 to $4,042 per employee in unemployment. And what we do to get started on an assessment is that we look at your tax rate notice. Typically, for the state of Minnesota, that tax rate notice is sent out sometime in December. This document highlights the last 4 years of benefits charged in taxable wages along with your tax rate. And in this example, the organization paid over $11,000 in claims and $24,000 in taxes. So they overpaid close to $13,000. Also, there's no need to understand everything on this document. Our team would be happy to check out your numbers and see if you have any potential savings. And then our next two examples, they include nonprofits with significant overpayments who eventually became reimbursing employers and then also members of our trust. In our first example, this is a human services nonprofit we work with. The taxable payroll was just shy of $1 million, tax rate 4.7%, estimated annual claims about $200 per year. And in this case, we looked at a 3-year average of claims. So they were overpaying $45,000 a year. And think of what you can do with an additional $45,000. Our second example of an SPCA we worked with, the taxable payroll was around $700,000, tax rate 3.38%, estimated annual claims $5,900, estimated unemployment taxes were around $24,000, so they were overpaying around $18,000. And now a little bit more about 501c services. We were founded in 1982 by a former UCP executive, John Hugstad. He was looking for ways to save money for his organization, so he came up with the idea of starting a trust. He created the first kind of grantor trust called the Joint Unemployment Compensation Trust. It eventually became 501c Services, and then our trust is called 501c Agencies Trust. We started at about 25 members here in San Jose and have now grown to helping over 3,000 nonprofits in various ways. In 2016, John sold the company back to his employees, so we're now 100% employee owned. From our receptionist to the CEO, every member is committed to our company and serving our members. And our services are valued tremendously, with our company having over a 98% retention rate. And these are a couple of testimonials our members have shared, and you can go back to these later as I'll send the slides after the presentation. And here is a clip from our 40th anniversary celebration a few years ago. It includes testimonials from Anika Lunn and Mike Hoffman from Start Early, Mary Sue and Michael Eady from CISC, Sandy Leota and Chris Marshall of Baltimore Center Stage, and Phyllis Austin and Jason Penniger from Boys and Girls Club of America.
What makes me passionate about working for a non-for-profit organization is because I knew I always wanted to work for a mission-driven organization.
Our mission is to work with immigrant communities so that they can achieve the American dream.
501 helps focus our service to the community by giving us more time.
501 helps us focus on serving our communities by providing services directly to our HR professionals.
The biggest benefit for working with 501 is really the transparency and ability to forecast our costs when it comes to our unemployment benefits.
They also keep our cash flow steady through claims that are sound and take a lot of the admin burden off of us so we can just stay on autopilot.
We're very grateful for all the support you provided over the last 4 decades, and we wish you continued success in the future.
Congratulations, 501, on your 40th anniversary. It's been a pleasure serving with you for the last 24 years.
And like I said before, we work with several Minnesota nonprofits, and this is a quick snapshot of a few nonprofits here in the state and across the nation that are members. And just as you heard in the clip, we help nonprofits relieve the administrative burdens that can come with unemployment. The first way we help nonprofits is through claims management. Our team will help you manage, audit, protest claims. And when you have to protest, or when you want to protest, we offer unlimited access to hearing reps. And our team has an 80% average protest win rate. You'll get a dedicated claims manager once you become part of the trust. All your claims will go through this online portal where you'll get notified when a claim gets filed. So you'll go into the portal and respond to these questions. And if you ever go on PTO or forget to delegate these kinds of tasks, it shouldn't be a problem for when a claim doesn't get responded to in several days. It gets escalated and handled. So a big part of our claims management is that our team doesn't want you or your organization to overpay or get hit by those Minnesota error rates. So we'll help you audit those charges for you or prevent you from paying a claim when someone gets terminated. We want to make sure that you're managing these claims and also have enough support to do so. In our HR services, it includes 3 components. We offer access to unlimited HR consultations. We're a small dedicated team that can answer any of your HR related questions. So if you ever have an ongoing issue, you can develop rapport with one of our team members who will support you and manage any of your HR questions. We also have trainings throughout the year that are HRCI and SHROOM certified. And there's also an online knowledge library with our HR services. With the $914 maximum weekly benefits in the state of Minnesota, our goal is to help you keep that cost as low as possible. So if you ever lay someone off, we have our reemployment tool. It offers packages that can range from online coaching, interview techniques, and resume writing. And our studies have shown that individuals who use this tool find a job 4 weeks faster than those that don't. It's never fun to let someone go, but at least you can give them the safety net and resources to help them secure a new job faster, which in return can help your organization save more money. And then we also have the protection. It's the insurance part of our program. Most of our members take our stop loss protection that helps members during catastrophic claims. Other than the catastrophic claims for managing the highs and lows of general unemployment, we have the trust account. And this is a reserve account owned by your organization that could help you save for those possible unexpected number of claims. So I hope this sparked your interest, and maybe some of you may want to manage your unemployment through us as a reimbursing employer. If you wanted to look into potential savings and get a free cost analysis from us, what we would need from you is your 941s or estimated payroll from 2024 to 2025 as a reimburser. And then if you're paying into the state tax system, we would need that copy of your 2025 tax rate notice. So I don't see any questions currently in the Q&A box. I will stay on for another minute or so. And then in the next few hours, I'll start sending the follow-up emails with a copy of the slides and credits in the next few hours. So if you are still typing a question as I log off, feel free to also respond to that upcoming email. And thank you again for watching this presentation. And I really look forward to speaking with some of you soon. And if you wanted further information, this is my contact information. And we also have our YouTube channel if you want to check that out, and our newsletter for any events that may be going on. Thank you so much, and hope everyone has a great day and enjoy your lunch.